Hello and welcome to Solent Sports News. I'm Liam Harding.
And I'm Owen Huggins.
Aston Villa have appointed their new manager since the sacking of Steven Gerrard. Former Arsenal manager Unai Emery will take charge of the reins at Villa Park. The Spaniard has unfinished work in the Premier League. Aston Villa are currently 15th in the league.
Baseball isn't a widely regarded sport in the UK. Solent Sports News visited the local baseball entertainment centre to find out more.
Southampton has many places where you can go and discover new activities and sports in the city. We've been down to visit a local baseball simulator looking to showcase a different kind of day out. We spoke to manager Janet Bunja.
So first base probably started coming close to like 3 years. One of the owners called Sean had basically came up with the idea himself. He first started with a shooting range in Reading. He then decided to have a little business change and come over to Southampton and start a new project. So he came up with the idea with the baseball first base. He then found his business partner called Kyle, who they then got together and started up the business itself, and then I came along, and then the rest is history.
The venue opened in 2019, but it's not been a perfect innings for the sports company so far.
When we came along, it wasn't as busy, but we got busier as the entertainment business got expanded. So people want to get out, do more activities with their family and friends. Wasn't as busy, and then as you know, lockdown came along, which was a complete flat out bit of a break. And then since we came back, people want to get out, get busy, stag do's, family events, etc. So yeah, really good. Everyone wants to get out and start something new, really.
Last month, Great British Baseball qualified for the World Baseball Championships for the first time in their history, causing a sharp rise of interest in the sport within the UK.
However, I do know we've got teams and clubs actually in and around the area, such as in Bournemouth, so people do pop in and appreciate the fact that this is an upcoming sport in and around the area. Softball more so, but I think people are just enjoying the fact there's a new activity-based like batting sport rather than just cricket, golf.
First base is the only simulator in the country that has technology that is used by players in the MLB, creating a realistic and immersive environment.
So it's a hit track software, so it's an American-based software. This was then brought in by Sean himself, that's been in contact with American group. And yeah, so that's a software that we know that we can guarantee on as they do use it out there for their professional teams, as well as we now use it here for entertainment reasons.
I've been Michael Ryder. This is Solent Sport News.
In cycling now, the third round of the Cyclocross World Cup took place in Tabor in the Czech Republic. Eli Iserbyt of Pavel Susan Bingol won his third consecutive World Cup race as he leads the championship in dominant fashion.
AFC Tottenham have their eyes set on the FA Trophy this season and are aiming for the ultimate prize. Many believe this is the season the Stags could bring home their first FA Trophy.
After making their way through 3 qualifying rounds, AFC Tottenham have reached the first round of the FA Trophy. An optimistic Brett Williams explains what this tournament means for a club like Tottenham.
Yeah, it's quite a big deal, I think, for the club, especially sort of the level we're at. It can generate decent money for a club like us, and it's a good one for the lads as well. You can come against teams in the league above us and all the way up to the conference. So, and then obviously you've got the main target of getting to Wembley. So yeah, it's good to have that sort of little dream and that little target, but you just want to try and win as many games as possible and try and get through as many rounds as possible, really.
After getting knocked out in the third round of the FA Trophy last year, Williams outlines his hopes for this year's tournament.
We've got a bit more resilience about us, so I think we've got a stronger side physically. We've got a few more experienced lads in, so I think when we are in them games where we're sort of put under a bit of pressure and we come up against them physical teams, we sort of match them a bit better this year, whereas last year I think at times we were a young squad and we played good football, so sometimes when we were going away, like places like Larkhall, we'd have a setback in the game and we wouldn't come back from it, whereas now we've got that resilience to sort of, if we hit setbacks, we can come back from them.
With the potential of playing a team in a higher league, Williams has his eyes set on a National League side.
I think, like I said before, we're not favourites at all. Like, we've got Conference South teams, all which will be in the competition. So I think for us is probably to get one of the big conference teams in one of the next rounds if we make it through. So one which stands out to me would be maybe Wrexham away. Just with all the stuff they're going on with Ryan Reynolds and stuff, that would be quite good to be sort of a part of that and see what they're doing. But I've got a few old clubs in the conference as well, so maybe one of my old clubs like Torquay, Aldershot, Eastleigh, that would be quite sort of good for me to go back there and see some old faces.
All eyes will be on Tottenham this weekend as they face Redditch away from home.
Wrexham FC have banned Paul Mullin from wearing controversial football boots. Paul Mullin's custom-made boots featured a controversial statement saying, F the Tories, about the Conservative Party. The National League said they take a neutral position on politics.
In other non-league football news, Didcot Town have got off to a great start this season. The Railway men are 5th in a Southern Central position. We spoke to manager Jamie Heapy and asked him about his side's good start to the season.
Jamie Heapy is the manager of Didcot Town, who currently play in the Southern Central Division. Heapy and his side have had a positive start to the season and sit 5th in the league. Heapy tells us what he wants to see from his side so they can keep up their good form.
A bit more belief, to be honest, in the group. I've got a young group with some experienced boys in, but I just want to play with a bit more belief and a bit more positivity and play to their strengths. And we've done all right, to be fair. We've had a good start, but still a long way to go. You know, we've only played, I think, 9 league games, so a long way to go. Lots to learn, lots to improve on, but yeah, I'm pleased with the start.
We then asked him what he thought was the main difference between professional and non-league football.
Yeah, it's hard. You know, we're only with them probably a couple of hours a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it's difficult to get things across in that short amount of time. We try and do as much as we can. They take it all on board, and then luckily enough, they're implementing what we're trying to put across to them on a Saturday or a Tuesday night.
He then tells us the struggles that his team and others in the league have had to endure during COVID and the energy crisis.
I think they can help. I don't know whether there's any funding or anything that they could possibly put into a pot for non-league teams like ourselves, because the energy crisis and COVID did, not just us but other clubs as well, it has affected them. And it took a big hit, I think, for some teams at this level. Yeah, there must be a way the FA can look into things, or somebody higher than me that can help with funding and costs for non-league teams. But I'm sure there'll be something in the future where, hopefully, there'll be some money available that gets handed down.
Red Bull Racing secured the Formula One Constructors title in Austin, Texas after world champion Max Verstappen won the race from Lewis Hamilton. The paddock now heads to Mexico with 3 races left of the season.
Solent Hockey lost against local rivals Uni of Southampton last Wednesday, but captain Sam James was unable to play due to a shoulder injury. Rhys Barrett went to the Outdoor Sports Centre to find out more.
The Solent Hockey Firsts needed all of the warm-up they could get. They had a huge derby game against local rivals Uni of Southampton, but they were missing a key player. Captain Sam James was out with a shoulder injury, missing his first league game in 3 years. He was forced to watch on from the sidelines.
Yeah, it's gotten. It's the first game I've missed in. This is my 4th year at uni. First game I missed through injury, so it's annoying not to be here. But I'll cheer on the boys from the sideline. Hopefully, I'll be back for the next one.
James tried to play down the rivalry before the game.
Well, you never know. It's always a bit of a rivalry, but they're good lads. We're good lads. Like whatever happens on the pitch stays on the pitch. But yeah, everyone's always up for it.
But the captain didn't watch on quietly. He clashed with the umpire over his reactions, and as Solent trailed at half-time, he led the team talk to try and get his side back into the game.
Which is fine to a certain extent.
It was clear that James wanted to be on the pitch, but his leadership from the touchline was for nothing, as Solent were beaten in a disappointing loss.
Yeah, not the best one. Definitely a step back from last week. We had good spells, and definitely when we got the game back to 3-2, we looked like we were the better team. Yeah, very frustrating. I think I got more into it on the sidelines than I did in the game, but yeah, definitely annoying. Wish I was out there, but that's all you can really do today. Good shift by the boys.
The captain couldn't help but talk about the umpire after the game.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really help it. Like, he came up to me and said, "You can't comment unless you're a qualified umpire," and I said, "I am." So then he was quiet after that. But yeah, not decisions went our way, but it happens week in, week out. There's not much we can do about it, unfortunately.
With the loss to Uniov behind them, the team looked forward to the next fixture.
Yeah, definitely. So next week we have a week off. So we'll have 2 training sessions before our next game. I think it's against Exeter, which will definitely be a tough one. But if we work really hard on those 2 training sessions, some more fitness, and then we can definitely look to have a good game.
Tonight, there will be a whole array of Champions League games. Manchester City have the chance to win Group G if they beat Borussia Dortmund. Meanwhile, Chelsea look to cement their place in the next round of the competition as they play away to Red Bull Salzburg.
Southampton are picking up form after an unbeaten week in the Premier League. After a midweek win against Bournemouth away, the Saints notched a draw against the league leaders Arsenal on Sunday. Saints superfan Tom Goward believes the side may have turned the corner ahead of the World Cup.
After a somewhat miserable spell, things are slowly turning for Southampton. After 3 games unbeaten, superfan Thomas Goward is quietly confident ahead of the South Coast's final 3 games prior to the World Cup.
I think, we won in the week against Bournemouth, we drew to league leaguers yesterday. I'm not saying this is a complete turning point because it's only a couple of games. We should try and finish the last 3 games strong. I think, it's going to be a month and a bit off for the World Cup, so you want the fans to feel, confident coming back after the restart. So maybe Liverpool will be tough, but Liverpool have not been great this season. So if we can win that, then maybe.
Faith has also been restored in Austrian manager Ralf Hasenhüttl, with the South Coast side picking up 5 points from an available 9.
I think, if you beat any of the big top 6, it's a confidence booster, and I think getting a draw against Arsenal, Arsenal weren't great. We weren't great either, but we took our chance when Armstrong was played through, so it could be.
Goward is seeing a break for the upcoming World Cup in Qatar as a positive one, with only a few first-team players in contention for a call-up. He hopes that the month's rest can allow the club to recollect and push forward heading into the new year.
I hope Ward-Prowse gets a spot. We all know Gareth doesn't pick a lot of midfielders. Maybe that will change. Maybe Southampton's form hasn't helped him out a little bit in terms of trying to get his. Not saying he's played bad in particular, but the performances of Southampton have not been great. So I hope he goes to the World Cup, but maybe it'll be a chance for the majority of the squad to rest, train, and come back stronger after the World Cup.
University of Southampton 2 weeks ago, Solent Rugby got straight back to work with extra time to prepare after this past weekend's match with University of Bath was postponed. Intensive training ramped up.
Charlie Caton and Liam Warren went to games to look at their work.
We went down to Tax Park to cover the Solent men's rugby team as they prepare for their next match on Wednesday. After a disappointing 47-0 defeat to their fierce rivals, the University of Southampton 2 weeks ago, the team would have been desperate to put that right last week. However, their scheduled match against the University of Bath's Fours was postponed due to their opponents being unable to find a referee for the game. But this acted as a silver lining for the boys, as it gave them more time to prepare for the next match and to put things right. As you can see, the team were heavily working on their offensive drives to improve the rhythm in play when attacking, whilst also improving the handling and the passing of the ball. The players showed some great speed in the play during the exercises. Another aspect of the game that they were working on was their contact drills, where they were trying to improve on the physicality of the team. The team were doing some training on scrumming, which they would transfer into a game situation, as minor infringements happen regularly during a match. But it seemed that the main focus of the session was on the lineouts, with the team developing on their game when the ball is out of play, with some of the players also working on their rucking and mauling techniques by using the rugby tackle shields. The coach of the team kept a close eye on his players whilst thinking about the team he is going to select for the upcoming game. There was even a pitch invader in the middle of the session, but that wasn't very successful in the end. Also, the players are working on their kicking and their catching, where they use the goalpost as the target in the event of getting a penalty in a game scenario. Although the result against Southampton wasn't very pretty, the team only showed signs of togetherness. They hope that they'll be able to achieve a victory in their next game where they can kick-start their season and climb up the table. Liam Warren, Solent Sports News.
Karate prospect Tina Bablaku has been preparing for her upcoming tournament in the JKA Cup in November. The 22-year-old shares her thoughts and feelings on her preparation for the competition.
Tina Bablaku is preparing for her upcoming karate tournament in Sweden next month as she trains for 6 or 7 hours a week.
I've been training the whole summer for this, and since I moved here I also kept training. I found a karate club here in Southampton and I train 4 times a week.
She is confident about her chances but doesn't want to think about it too much.
Hopefully good, since I've been training so much, so I have high expectations. I'm gonna do my best, but I don't know, I don't predict stuff before.
The Swede got her inspiration for the combat sport by watching and admiring Jackie Chan when she was younger.
It started with my dad. Me and my dad watch Jackie Chan movies, and I remember I was 6 years old. After watching a movie, I was like, Dad, I want to train karate. And it took like 2 weeks, and then he took me to a karate club. So I trained there one time, but my sensei, which is the word for a trainer in Japanese, he told me like, come back in 1 year because you're too young. So I did.
Karate has done so much for her on and off the mat as she urges people to give it a go.
It has given me the confidence, the discipline, both in real life, like school, and in karate, and respect to others. The thing with karate is you learn how to control your emotions. So, yeah, I would say, in a like serious situation, you just read the situation and react after that, I would say.
Tina was beaming with pride as she came second in the Swedish National Karate Championship back in March.
I was so proud because that was my first championship since more than 8 years ago. I was not prepared for it, so I'm so happy about it.
The brown belt is looking to go one step better on Saturday the 12th of November in the JKA Cup in Lund. This competition is held once a year in the south of Sweden.
That's all for now. Join us next week for more news stories.